Hi, we're going to take a quick look at an exhibition called Machines of Futility, which was part of the Pulse Art and Technology Festival here at Telfair's Jepson Center. I'm Harry DeLorme, Senior Curator of Education, and this exhibition is a little different than some we presented for the Pulse Festival in the past. Often we're celebrating artists' ingenious uses of new technology. In this case, we're looking at an exhibition that actually questions our relationship with technology and points out through absurdity and humor the ways that technology might actually be working against us or may work a little differently than we expect it to. We're looking at a 2012 work here by the Texas-based artist Alicia Eggert. And she is concerned in her work with language, image, and time. And so for a period in her work, she was making these clock-like sculptures, these kinetic sculptures, which refer to the passing of time in different ways. The one we see here actually reminds you a little bit of a clock because you have these rotating arms that are bright red, like the second hand on a clock or on a watch. But in this case, these hands are rotating about once a second or so to spell the word now. So Eggert is playing with this idea of time and also the idea of what is the present? What is now? When is now? Is that something we can even capture? How do you capture the present moment? It's almost a futile gesture and one that's really kind of hard to wrap our heads around, and yet we use clocks every day. So that's why I consider this piece sort of appropriate to the theme of this exhibition. Here we have three works by the artist R. Luc Dubois. Dubois is really kind of a legendary artist in the art and technology realm. He was the co-author of a software called Jitter, which has been widely used by artists. But he is also the creator of many artworks that play with dichotomies. In this case, we have a series of works made from actual vintage voting machines. These are voting machines from the 1950s to 1960 that the artist has repurposed to kind of point out this idea of binaries, of kind of one or the other choices that we make when we go to vote. And he's outfitted each of these machines a little bit differently. One of them is outfitted to include sounds, so you can actually vote for different qualities or types of sound. Another one allows you to vote for different types of images and how those images are presented. And the third one actually allows you to vote for text from famous novels, and you can choose to mix and match these and see what comes out. This is a sculpture called Minimum Wage Machine by the artist Blake Fall Conroy. And this sculpture, which has been exhibited all over the world, points out really almost the futility of trying to earn a living or support yourself on the minimum wage. Basically, it's a machine that is filled with pennies, and as you turn the crank on this machine, it dispenses pennies at the rate of the current minimum wage. So you see just how hard you have to work in order to earn a penny. So I'll give this a try right now. Still cranking. All right, so now I just earned 1 penny. So you can imagine how long I would have to use this to earn any significant amount of money. The machine has been shown again internationally at places like the Dublin Science Gallery, and visitors there apparently did save up enough money to buy like a cup of coffee. But otherwise, it'd be very hard to make a living using this machine. Again, it's been shown in art museums, science museums, and perhaps most fittingly, the Museum of Capitalism in Oakland. This is a piece by Blake Fall Conroy, who made the minimum wage machine, and it's called the Communicator. And it sort of points out the sinister side, or potentially sinister side, of a technology that we use every day, the cell phone. In this case, the artist has outfitted an old-fashioned flip cell phone with motors and a microcontroller. And basically what it's doing, you'll see that these little arms are pressing keys on the phone. It's actually texting. And you'll notice that it's sitting on top of a book. That book is George Orwell's famous dystopian novel, 1984. And this machine is actually sending text. It's texting out quotes from George Orwell's 1984 to randomly generated telephone numbers. So it's actually kind of spamming people, although some of the numbers it's sending to are not real telephone numbers. It's randomly generating numbers. Now this kind of points out the, again, kind of sinister side of technology. The idea that these phones in our pockets may not be totally under our control. And it kind of points out, that Orwell was really ahead of his time thinking about these kinds of things. And even though he didn't predict the cell phone in 1984, he did predict something called a telescreen in the book, which would watch you and listen to you day and night at all times, just like these machines that are in our pockets may actually be listening to us. Our home assistants, our voice-activated assistants are always listening. So this, again, points out this side of technology that is sort of beyond our control. So here we're looking at Neil Mendoza's anti-vanity mirror. It's sort of a mirror for the selfie generation. It also really ties back to this idea of machines of futility, machines that often don't do what we expect them to do. In this case, the artist has made this sculpture. It was part of a series, actually, that he made while working at a recycling center called Recology in San Francisco. In this case, he used a cast-off mirror as well as a disused 3D printer to fashion this interactive sculpture, which we see right here, which is a mirror that actually tries to move out of your way when you try to look at yourself in it. So it thwarts your attempt to see yourself. And I can demonstrate this really quickly. If I try to stand in front of it, the mirror moves out of my way. And it just keeps moving out of my way. I can't see myself for long. So again, he's sort of humorously pointing out the ways that technology can even be working against us. Here we're looking at the robotic voice-activated word-kicking machine by artist Neil Mendoza. Mendoza is a British-born artist based in Los Angeles, and he studied computer science and math before studying media arts at UCLA. He combines technology with often found objects to create absurd and humorous sculptures. And in this case, we have a piece that refers to the kind of voice-activated assistants that permeate our lives right now, as well as our cell phones. Technology that we talk into, and yet we're not really sure what happens when our words go into those machines. So this piece sort of humorously highlights that aspect of the technology that we use every day. I'm going to demonstrate this by talking into this one tube, and you'll see what happens. As you speak into the tube, your words come out on the screen and get sucked into another tube, and the machine spits some of those words back out at you. But the words don't come out the same way that they go in. And so again, it calls into question this idea of machines that we talk to. What are they really hearing? Are they listening to us? And where do those words go? Some of the words that you speak in this machine come out through the other tube, but they never come out the same way that they go in. You'll also notice a mechanical foot on the wall, and that foot just kicked some of the words. So again, we know so little about the technology we carry around with us. There might as well be a mechanical foot kicking our words when they go into our devices.